So thank you all for joining us for the Communication Strategies for Student Leaders. Today we have Diane, our Director of Communications and Marketing with the UNLV Graduate College, and I'm just going to go ahead and hand it over to her to get started and introduce herself.
Oh, thank you so much, Shantae. I love TGA, so anytime I can do anything with them, I love to get to do it. So today we are going to be talking about communication strategies, but before we do that, I'd love to know people in the room, if you don't mind, since we're going to be a very intimate group. So if you don't mind sharing your name and also program you are in. Oh, thank you. All right, so we're going to get started.
All right, shoot, now, as long as okay, what is it about baseball? Will you stand still? Pick up your hat. Don't pick up your hat. Now, look. Then you'll go and pay your popcorn and don't interrupt the act anymore? Yes, all right. You know, strange may seem they give ball players nowadays very peculiar names. Funny names? Nicknames, pet names. Not as funny as my name, Sebastian Dinwiddie. Oh, yes. Funnier than that? Oh, absolutely, yes. Now, on the St. Louis team, we have who's on first, what's on second. I don't know who's on third. That's what I want to find out. I want you to tell me the names of the fellas on the St. Louis team. I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second. I don't know who's on third. You know the fellas' names? Yes. Well, then who's playing first? Yes. I mean the fellow's name on first base. Who? The fellow playing first base for St. Louis. Who? The guy on first base. Who is on first? Well, what are you asking me for? I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, who is on first? I'm asking you who's on first. That's the man's name. That's whose name? Yeah. Well, go ahead and tell me. Who? The guy on first. Who? The first baseman. Who is on first? Now, you got a first baseman on first. Certainly. Then who's playing first? Absolutely. When you pay off the first baseman every month, who gets the money? Every dollar of it. Why not? The man's entitled to it. Who is? Yes. So who gets it? Why should he? Sometimes his wife comes down and collects it. Whose wife? Yes. After all, the man earns it. Who does? Absolutely. Well, what I'm trying to find out is what's the guy's name on first base? Oh, no, what is on second base? I'm not asking you who's on second. Who's on first? That's what I'm trying to find out. Oh, don't change the players. I'm not changing nobody. Take it easy. What's the guy's name on first base? What's the guy's name on second base? I'm not asking you who's on second. Who's on first? I don't know. He's on third. We're not talking about him. How could I get on third base? You mentioned his name. If I mention a third baseman's name, who did I say is playing third? No, who's playing first? Stay off of first, will you? Well, what do you want me to do? Now, what's the guy's name on third base? What's on second? I'm not asking you who's on second. Who's on first? I don't know. He's on third. There I go, back on third again. Well, I can't change their names. Will you please stay on third base, Mr. Broadhurst? Now, what is it you want to know? What is the fella's name on third base? What is the fella's name on second base? I'm not asking you who's on second. Who's on first? I don't know. Third base. You got an outfield? Oh, sure.
What do you guys think? Not clear.
It was funny, but
Yeah, I was trying to contain my excitement to not laugh because I always just laugh outrageously. So what did you think?
yeah, it was definitely a disconnect between, because the sender was trying to say that those are literally the names, but the receiver was thinking he was asking questions.
Yeah,
So it's funny.
yeah. Any thoughts back there?
I've had conversations like that with people.
So when it comes to sender and when it comes to receivers, right? So well, first let's talk about why communication matters. It matters because it's key to success in graduate school and career. You cannot do, it doesn't matter what career you are in, you have to learn how to communicate. And when we are communicating, we have a sender and we have a receiver. Sometimes as the sender, because the sender, like right now I'm the sender and you are the receiver of whatever communication I am trying to convey to you. So when the sender thinks in their mind they're communicating something, and sometimes the receiver can actually be receiving something completely different. And there can be so much miscommunication happening, but you think you're sending something that people are not receiving. And maybe the sender could have been clearer, could have said, those are the names of the people that are on base, right? Instead of asking who's on first. No, who is the guy on first? Instead of saying that, it could have said that, oh, okay, that those are the names of the people. It could have said those are the name of the people. But Yeah, so communication matters because it also helps to build confidence in relationship. When it comes to any workplace, when it comes to whether it's in graduate school, whether you are in your career, that's how you build communication. That's how you build relationship and confidence. It also helps to resolve conflict because whether it's in your personal class of life, whether it's in your career, whether it's in lab, in class, there are there are going to be conflicts. There are going to be misunderstanding. It may not be as funny as the one we just watched, but there are going to be some sort of miscommunication. And actually, there was a study done by Harvard that says 85% of job success come from soft skills like communication. If you're able to communicate with people like better, you're able to get along with people and try to, because the thing is sometimes we communicate in a way that we would understand, but we have to find ways to communicate in a way that the person receiving the communication would understand. Because at the sender, when we say something to someone, we're like, oh yeah, I said that. They should get that. But that's not usually how it actually works. We want to be able to communicate clearly, to convey the message that we are trying to convey. And what is communication? It's a process of which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, and behavior. And it's an exchange of ideas, information, signals through message, through appropriate media. Just because it's communication, it's like a give and take, right? When it comes to the communication between people, when it comes with communication just in a group setting or with someone one-on-one. So that essentially what communication is. And also it's a way to express emotion because we're going to talk about it later. You can say something without saying anything. So there are different types of communication. We have verbal communication, which is what I'm doing now. I'm speaking. And we have writing. Writing is actually a form of communication. We have nonverbal, which is body language and tone. Now, body language and tone are so important because if I say, I'm so excited today. Like, am I excited today? I cannot say something and then my tone is something completely different. Like, I really am excited today because I love to get to do that with you guys, right? And I cannot say how happy I am, but then I'm just sitting back here and I'm looking at you like this. Like, am I really happy to be here? Right? Sometimes. And also, when it comes to different body language cues, is that if the cues I am giving you is that we need to rush, we need to go. Like I teach and I tell my students all the time, by 5 o'clock, because I teach from 4 to 5:15, by 5 o'clock, everyone's packing their bags. By 5 o'clock, no one is listening to anything else I say, right? They're not telling me anything. They're just looking at me like they're trying to pack their bags without making a sound, but I can hear the bags unzipping and zipping, right? So we can say anything. And also with nonverbal communication, you give cues. Like some of you are nodding when I say something you kind of agree with, right? Or some of you are like, oh, okay, this kind of makes sense. Or sometimes I do public speaking and I'm like, some people, they look at me in a way, you don't even know that you're doing it, right? Based on the way you're processing the information, your face changes. Like sometimes you smile, sometimes you don't, sometimes you'll, like for me, I make faces a lot. You can tell a lot by how my face is usually. So I have to keep training myself to, Diane, be neutral. I don't know how to do that. I'm either happy or I'm not, right? So you have to constantly train yourself. Even when going to job interviews, it's not just about what you're saying to your potential employer, it's also your demeanor. Like does your body exude confidence? Are you standing tall? Are you sitting up straight? So all of these are like part of communications. And also visual, you can have like, when it comes to communication, charts, images, videos, like things that I'm using, come on in, things that I'm using right here in this session, right? And also listening. Listening is the most underrated skills of communication because we like to do the talking, right? We like for people to receive what we are saying, but listening is a form of communication as well. We have to be able to listen to what people are saying to us, and sometimes we listen to respond and not listen to understand. You probably heard the saying before, you listen to respond and not listen to understand. So when someone is saying something to you, whether in your personal life or if your advisor is telling you something, or your chair, your committee is telling you something, listen to understand, not to formulate a response, but listen to actually understand what they are telling you. And also the process of communication. So we have the sender that sends a message, and then the receiver actually receives the message. But there's like a feedback loop that, like, the feedback actually completes the loop. For instance, if someone asks you to do something, so I'll just use Trexie since she's my GA. So usually if I ask her to do something for me as my GA, as the sender, I send a message and then she received it. I usually like to close the loop by asking her to tell me what I asked her to do, so that I can know that she understood what I asked of her. And also I always tell my team, did you understand what I said? Or like, do you have any questions? Or is that something that we use Slack? Is that something that we should chat on Slack about? Or should we just do a 5-minute? Like, if I'm going into messaging and someone is not getting what I'm saying, I cannot be texting, emailing back and forth with you. I'm picking up the call, like the phone, and I'm gonna give you a call, because it just close that loop. And there's also noise when it comes to communication. So it doesn't mean like actual noise, but like anything that interferes with the communication is noise, right? And miscommunication happens so often. And it happens because there's no feedback loop to close it. Sometimes if it's a new job or a new lab, a new career path, a new relationship, a new boyfriend, a new girlfriend, a new partner, whatever you may call it, sometimes we don't ask the question. Sometimes we just take it on without actually be understanding it for real. We just take it on. Like, we will go to meetings and we wouldn't ask questions. We wouldn't ask follow-up questions. But it's like, but you didn't understand what they asked you to do, and now you work on the wrong task. Now you did the wrong assignment. Now your advisor thought your research was one thing and it's something completely different. So you're like, wait, I thought we were on the same page. No, you were on the same page with you, but you were not on the same page with me, right? So we want to make sure that we are closing that feedback loop, because when it comes to conversations, as the sender is always right in their mind. Like, the sender is always right. And I think when I took some communications class, that actually really solidified it for me. Just because you said something doesn't mean that's what the person hears. Because we all have biases. People may say they don't have biases, but we all do. We all have our own biases, right? So even if people may say they don't have biases, but they actually do have biases, right? If I say something in a tone, you're like, does she like me? Did she mean to say that way, right? So it's all about the receiver. So for me personally, I work with different people and I communicate with people differently, right? So based on who the receiver is, the sender also should try to manage the communication to make sure that the person is receiving it well. And then active listening, we already talked about listening versus hearing. And one of the ways you can show interest is eye contact and nodding, which a lot of you have been doing. So thank you for doing that, so I can know you're listening to me and I'm not just talking in the open, right? You know, the smile and not interrupting. Unless a speaker say, oh, you can interrupt me, then it's always good to not interrupt people when they're speaking and let them finish, and then ask questions later and then reflect back. And also, does everything we say or write have a purpose? That's something that we have to think about. Like, do we just say things to say things, or is there like a meaning to everything that we say? And also, sometimes you expect a response or result from your communication. Sometimes, especially with bosses or with people that have authority figures over us, when they send something, we feel the need to respond. Like, we just feel the need to respond. Like, if your boss is messaging you at 7 p.m. and you happen to see it, you feel the need to respond. They need to respond right now. I don't know, right? It can be up in the open, but it also depends on everything in communication, also based on context. It depends on the relationship you have with that person. But if you just met them and you just started working with them, you're just gonna respond. Like for me, I usually work late sometimes, and I would message my team and they would respond right away. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for you to respond. They're like, oh, but I thought you needed it right now. So now I schedule messages. I schedule my Gmails, I schedule my Slack. If you receive something at 8 on the dot from me on Slack, I didn't send that at 8 on the dot, I scheduled it. So now when I'm working late, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna schedule it because I don't want people to be responding to me, or I don't want them to assume that I had them. Like, I want them to respond right away. And also, do I change how I communicate depending on what response I want or need? Yes, we want to make sure we are changing our communication. So the difference between the right word and almost the right word is the difference between lightning and the lightning bug. So when it comes to the words we use are so important. Like I was saying earlier, saying to someone, hey, I don't like this. If you listen to this, she's so mean. No, I'm not mean. That's just, if I don't like something, I don't know how else to sugarcoat it to tell you I don't like it. I like you as a person. I just don't like this particular word that you produced. Next, please. All right, netiquette. So just as it is important to know, your responsibilities in using like communication, technology, it's also important to know that there's like code of honor that works with them. So these are like those silent rules, right? Those rules that are not really rules that we have. So when you're writing an email, posting on social media, or talk, in a chat room in all caps is the same thing as screaming. So if you're writing something all caps, you're just yelling and shouting at somebody. So these are just these rules, and we don't want to make fun of others. We apologize if someone was offended or did not hear what you were saying and the way you mean it. So sometimes written communication can get taken out of context a lot. I'm not a big texter just because I prefer to talk. And in the workplace, I have no choice but to use email and to use GChat and to use Slack. So if someone did not understand what you meant, it's okay to follow up with the person. It's okay to say, oh, let me explain. And usually if someone didn't understand something in a written format, if you have the opportunity, it's better to do like a Zoom call or, a Google Meet or a phone call, just so that you explain it to the person. And half the time, in my humble opinion, I think it's quicker to resolve things when you speak to the person or when you see them face to face. And when you have a strong opinion, sometimes you just keep it to yourself based on the context of that strong opinion, right? I love my job, so I try to keep my strong opinions to myself. And also remember that no one can hear your tone of voice or see your facial expression like through a message. Now, we all have writing tones. The same thing we have our verbal communication tone, we also have writing tone. When it comes to our writing tone, people that are the closest to us will understand our writing tone, will get our writing tone. But even people that are the closest to us, sometimes they can get something out of context based on a written message. So we always want to make sure that I know we like to reply and we reply as fast as we can, but a delayed response is better than a message you can't take back. So it's okay to take 2-3 more minutes to respond and reread, especially if it's a heated conversation, and reread what you are trying to send instead of sending it fast and you just said something you can never take back. So I usually advise that. And we want to be respectful of our audience, even if we are used to them. Because I feel like at times the people that we are the closest with, whether it's professionally or personally, in romantic relationship, at times those are the people we're like, oh, they'll understand. But no, those people should still get that same level of respect from us. All right, context. Does my form of communication change in certain situation? Absolutely, yes. And do I use an altered style of talking when I'm talking with different people? Yes. And also, emotional intelligence is also a very big thing because, like the example I gave earlier with my two GAs, I have different relationship with both of my GAs, and I've been able to use emotional intelligence to see the personality type of my GAs to know one person is more, I don't want to use, what's a better word than sensitive?
Receptive?
Yeah, so yes, I like that. So one person may be more receptive to one way I communicate than the other. So for instance, I think for now, saying I don't like something becomes a joke between me and my GA because the first time I told her, I don't like this, she like, you should have seen her face. She was like, you don't like me? I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean I don't like you. I'm saying I don't like this flyer. I'm saying I don't like this flyer. So we had a whole hour conversation of when I say I don't like something, it's not because I don't like it. It's not because I don't like you. I just don't like the work. And I expect a very high level of excellence when it comes to my work, when it comes to anything that comes from our department. So we had to have a whole conversation about the word like, right? And then now, if I look at something, she's like, you don't like it. Like, she will tell me you don't like it. So now it becomes this whole thing. So I learned from my mistake. Now I have another GA. I don't tell her that. I say, can we change it? I give the actual concrete feedback I have on the work instead of saying, I don't like it, because I already know. So emotional intelligence is very important because we're gonna make mistakes. We're not gonna be perfect communicators. There's no such thing. We are going to make mistakes at some point, but then we want to have emotional intelligence so that we don't repeat the same mistake with other people. And every relationship is going to be different. I love twins, so I like to follow different twins on social media and just watch random videos on twins. Even parents with twins, they will tell you, twins are different. They may be identical, they look the same, they share DNA, but they communicate differently, they have different personalities. Even parents with twins have to parent their children differently. How much different would it be for us, like in the workplace or at school? Oh, and let's watch this fun video.
Hello. How much are they asking?
Well, that's a lot of money for a deck.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but you're getting robbed. Did you hear me? You're getting robbed.
AmeriQuest, an open-minded, equal opportunity lender.
Yeah, non-effective communication.
We have to fill these out. Describe illness or injury.
I dislocated my shoulder.
All right. And how did the accident occur?
You already know that.
Cause of accident, lack of adhesive ducts. Okay, medical history. Have you ever been diagnosed with diabetes?
No.
Kidney disease?
No.
Migraines?
Getting one.
Are you currently pregnant?
No.
Are you sure you look a bit puffy?
Change migraine to yes.
When was your last menstrual period?
Oh, next question.
I'll put in progress. Moving to psychiatric disorders, list all major behavioral diagnoses, e.g. depression, anxiety, etc.
Oh my God, what the hell does this have to do with my stupid shoulder?
Episodes of subpsychotic rage.
Ass.
Possible Tourette's. Moles, lesions, or other skin conditions. Suit tattoo on right buttock.
Sheldon, look, I am scared and in a lot of pain. Could you please take a break from being you for just a minute and try being, I don't know, comforting?
I'm sorry. There. Everything's going to be fine. Sheldon's here.
Thanks, that's much better.
Okay, what did we think of both of them?